Check, check, 1, 2. I've always wanted to say that. This angle's not great, but that's okay. If you guys are like, where are you, Diva? We are at Nick's place, and I wanted to do a little Q&A. Does this block the lighting that bad? This is gonna have to work. It's literally crooked. This is a great example of like, do I start the video over? No, we're gonna keep that in there. Hey guys, we're having a slumber party. My posture's about to be Hunchback of Notre Dame. I start school on Thursday. It's currently Tuesday as I am filming this, so really want to give myself just a chill vibe this week as we get used to adding something else into my routine, because as grateful as I am access to an education and the privilege of that, it is gonna take some time management, okay? So we're just gonna hang out. Got a big old blankie on, got my big old thing. Okay, this is my Amazon storefront now. I can say that I'm already on jug number 2, and it is $12.39. New lock screen alert, by the way. I think I might have said this last vlog. I don't really know. Can you even see that? It's focusing a little bit too much on my dead ends. Thank you. Panther, my affirmations. I am free to be happy. I'm thankful for the now. Gorgeous. So let's get into some questions. I have them all written down on a little Google Doc here, and we're just gonna hang out. This isn't gonna be crazy edited, but that's just the vibe for me. So that's it. I was gonna say, I know that's the vibe for you. This is actually my channel, and that's just what I want to do. So hope you're having a great week. Let's get into it. First question is from Rosie. Actually, first question is from me that I got a billion gajillion times, and we're gonna start with it. When is your show date? I am not sharing my show date. I will eventually share how many weeks out I am when I'm much closer to stage, but that's something that I wanted to keep private to myself as a stress reduction thing, and honestly just because people on the internet have thoughts on everything, and I just didn't really feel like sharing it. And I think it's kind of fun to have something that you guys are like, oh, I wonder how many, you know, it's a little like, I don't want to say it's a game. That's something that I did want to keep private. I got messaged from some other competitors that recommended that also do social media doing that and keeping it private, because they were like, honestly, like it made such a big difference in how you treat everything. And I do plan on eventually sharing with you guys when we are very, very close to stage, but we still have a good chunk of time to go. So I am keeping it private for now, but just know that you will know soon. Okay? Okay. First question for real from Rosie. First meal after show ideas. Interestingly enough, I don't have any. I really, cravings, I don't really deal with them. I enjoy my meal plan. I love my meal plan. I just finished my breakfast. Sweet potatoes and eggs, kimchi, blueberries, delicious. Like, I feel like my palate is so morphed around Whole Foods, and I've been doing that for so long that like that's just genuinely what I crave. Now, that being said, you know, Nick and I had, yeah, I was there. Nick had Chipotle last night while I had my chicken and broccoli. So I'm excited to be able to do stuff like that again and like go to Chipotle and go and get margs. And so I've thought about it, but I don't have anything planned out for it. I think for my show, what we're just gonna do is I'm just gonna look up restaurants that are around the area that my show is in, and then just kind of go there and see what that is. A lot of my post-show plans are TBD. We're planning on doing a second show. I'm literally lifting with Georgia today, and we're gonna talk about this later, so I'll ask her about it. But our initial plan was to do a second show, but the time in between my shows is a long time, like 10 weeks. We don't really know if I'm going to be, it's gonna depend on how this first show goes, so I'm taking it one thing at a time, but we don't know how much longer, if we wanna continue to push that much. It depends on judge feedback, how we're doing, stuff like that. Might be doing a second show closer to what, so it's not like I'm planning like this crazy, you know, thing. I'm probably just gonna enjoy a dinner, and I plan on maybe having like a steak or something like that. That sounds good. Sushi maybe. Wherever we go, if it has like a skinny marg, I think a marg would be so good, but I don't really have any cravings. Honestly, I don't really think about it. Maybe the closer I get, I'll really have ideas on that, but as of right now, I'm chilling with my meal plan. I'm feeling good and excited to enjoy a dinner with whatever is around. Tessalina asks, what are you studying? I'm completing my bachelor's degree in healthy lifestyles and fitness science through ASU's online program. I still have about 2 years left of that. So I start school, I mentioned to you guys, on Thursday. And so the way that the semester is broken up, the 2 classes that I will be in from now until like October time, a body image and wellness class. I'm stoked for that. What a cool thing. I didn't even plan this out like when I picked my courses and everything. For that to align in a season where my body's changing so much, I'm going to be going through a reverse and stuff like that. And I know that body image is like something that I could totally, like, just to learn about, I didn't even plan that, guys. Butterfly effect. It's so real. That's so amazing. So there's my body image and wellness class and medical and healthcare ethics class, like an application course for that. So that's going to be really, really interesting. Those are the 2 classes that I'm going to be in from now until like October-ish time. And then I think my other 2, one is like a nutrition-based research class, and the other one is something else that I can't think of at this current time. But I'm loving the program. I'm so passionate about healthy lifestyles, applicative science, and integrating that into content. And it's something I really enjoy. And even though, yeah, my friends graduated this year, oh no, my goal, hey, is for me to pay off school as I go and not take a loan out. So if that needs to take 10,000 years, okay, I don't really care. Sarah says, how do you stay so positive? My mother has been a very positive influence in my life, and as a kid, she was always the one who would say like, that would be choosing to be positive, and I would eye roll. I was the one that would eye roll and be like, girl, just be fucking realistic. But honestly, what other option is there? Because it's okay to acknowledge the negative thing, to be realistic with your situation, but choosing the positive has always given me positive outcomes. I don't really see any benefit, any extra benefit in ruminating on what isn't working. Why not just choose to be positive? You know, on Michael Smoke's podcast, we were on together, Higher Up Wellness, which I encourage you guys to listen to if you would like to support, okay? Because I really enjoyed doing that episode with him. I talk about positive delusion, where it's like being overly positive. You could argue, well, that's just not realistic. That's not based in truth. But being overly negative is also unrealistic, okay? So you can really heighten your experiences by just choosing to view them through a positive lens. And so why wouldn't you do that? I don't even understand how there's any other way to be, because I just feel like it's such a free and maybe not easy, but very simple way in enhancing how you navigate your life, is to choosing to see that silver lining. I mean, it's always done me right. So I just choose that. And I also think that coming from a place where in the past I was very negative and depressed, and especially social media, something that really can highlight and amplify negative thoughts, we need more positivity in that space. And I think to be the person that I needed and to use my content to hopefully create some of that positive space is a mission of mine, and I take it really seriously. Maya asks, are you competing in a natural only competition? How do you feel about going against non-natural competitors? For my first show, I know that one is a specifically natural show. I don't know if we do go on to nationals, if that is natural specific. I am unsure on that. I am natural. How do I feel about going against non-natural competitors? I think it could be great to see how I compare and to see my potential in that way, and to have the size reference and maybe even the motivation to be like, okay, I really need to push food this off season. I gotta put some tissue on, you know, something like that. I don't have anything against people who choose to go non-natural. If that's what you want to do, period. It's your body, queen. I don't care. That doesn't affect me literally at all. I recognize that I probably would not place as well, but you also don't know that. You know, just because you use steroids doesn't mean that you just completely blow up. Like, there's still hard work to be done. I think there's a stigma where it's like, oh, if you're enhanced, like it's cheating. I don't think that's true at all, because they only work if you work. Like, yes, you are enhancing yourself as an athlete, like obviously, and I guess I could expect myself to not compare as well, but like you also don't know that. Genetics are a huge role in that. I feel like as we get closer and I'm starting to see where my body, you know, is looking like, I'm really confident in myself. I don't know. So I think it'll be a very insightful thing and a very educational thing to kind of learn and see the differences. I'm really excited about it. I don't have any particular like feelings about competing against, if they're not natural and I am, like, okay, we're still 2 athletes competing against each other, and may the best physique win. And that's just what that is. Megan says, are you planning on competing long-term or focusing on this one show? I do think that bodybuilding is something I would like to do long-term. I've never felt so validated and like myself in a journey before. This has brought passion out of me in ways that I could never even have imagined. But I am just focusing on, that being said, I am just focusing on one thing at a time. Know for sure that after this current season, I will definitely be taking a good chunk of time off. Season, not like off, but like to improve, right? And to dial things back a little bit, which is what a lot of the sport is about, bodybuilding. Hey, we're gonna be building. So I think long-term, yes, I 100% see myself being successful in this sport, and do feel like genetically I'm in a really good spot. I feel like the person that I am, I'm so incredibly passionate about lifting and about putting on tissue and about just growing growing and challenging myself and like doing hard shit, this sport gives me such a space to amplify that and to sit with that. And I feel like without it, I'm just like one step farther, not to eat my own ass, guys, but I feel like I'm one step farther than like the typical gym goer, where yeah, I love to lift for fun and I genuinely just love lifting, but I love fucking going ham and pushing myself and that energy of like, which you can do in any gym, and like you don't need bodybuilding to do that, but I think I just resonate a lot more with that community than anything else, and so that really inspires me. You know, finding and learning so much about myself has been so inspiring, and I definitely think that long term it is something that I would love to do, but I am just taking it one show at a time right now because I do still have some time, so I want to let myself finish cooking up before we cut into the steak and see if it's medium rare. Do you know what I'm saying? Laura asks, are you experiencing brain fog or any negative effects on study when you cut calories? Love you so much. I love you too. Not terribly right now. I remember when I started prep, you know, time and time ago, thinking about when I would be like this amount of weekages out and being like, I'm gonna feel horrible, you know, I told myself that I would stop recording my podcast once I reached a certain number out, because that's when Georgia was like, this is when things start to get like serious, so, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna plan ahead, and like, this is when I will stop posting this, and this is, like setting these rules for myself, because I was so sure that I would start to feel like shit. Or even when friends would make plans and stuff, and then it'll be like a futuristic, hey, like, what are you doing this date? And then I'm thinking of the date and I'm like, okay, I'll be this many weeks out. I'm not gonna wanna do that. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt, because honestly, I feel fine. I feel so creative still. I think it can kind of almost make you look into it too hard. You know, if we're sitting and analyzing, do I have brain fog today? Do I have brain fog today? You're gonna find brain fog. Now, naturally, especially with something like prep, there are some side effects where, like right now, okay, I am freezing cold. Okay, usually even with the shower all the way hot, I got goosebumps all the time. You know, some days I'm a little bit more moody than I would like to be. Little stuff like that, sure. But from a creative way, I've really surprised myself with my energy. And I was even this morning when I was just walking, getting my steps in, I was writing manuscripts for my podcast, like on these ideas and making analogies and comparisons that I feel like I would typically make, just because I'm, you know, going through a hard phase. Like it's nice to know that I still got it, you know, at least right now. So yeah, I'm not really experiencing like brain fog. Now, I don't really start school for real until Thursday, so I guess we'll see. Your brain needs carbs to function, so there is a little bit naturally of a bit of a decline, but I don't really focus on it. Charlotte asks, what are your tips on journaling? How do you get the most out of it? Also, you should release a journal. That would be a fun idea. I don't know what I would do though, because I don't use prompts. It could just be like a cute, like, there could be our little guy on the front, our little spud man. Is he on there? You see him? But it would be blank because I don't write with prompts. They can be very helpful, but for me, I just felt like I was answering something and I put a weird amount of pressure of like somebody reading it, and like this needs to be super like deep so that if I die and someone opens it and is like, wow, like she was so, like, what? What helps me the most with journaling is I literally write down what my thoughts are. So I write down, I'm sitting, eating breakfast right now, I'm feeling this way. But the biggest thing with the way that I journal is it's not necessarily just like describing what I'm doing, but it's questioning what I'm feeling and getting a little layer deeper than that. So I brought my journal over here actually because it's been such an asset to this prep of really sitting with how I'm feeling. I'm feeling okay today. I'm noticing a little bit of negative self-talk. I think that's because of this. I'm curious where those thoughts came from, and just really tuning into how you feel. That's like the not helpful answer because I don't use prompts, but make it as appealing as you can. And if that's something where it's like making it as simple as you can, then do that. If prompts encourage you and help you, do that. I'm sure ChatGPT, if you looked up like, what should I journal about? It might have some prompts. I get the most introspective when I'm just writing down my stream of conscious, because that's how you can look in on yourself, is by expressing yourself. So a lot of my journal entries are just like, man, I'm feeling really tired. Well, actually, that makes a lot of sense because my food was lower today, or okay. And then you sit with it and you're like, I'm good. Ruby asks, what's the next place you want to travel? Oh my gosh, so many places. Locally, I have so many girlies that I'm looking to, after prep, travel to go see. And I'm really, really excited just to have more flexibility to be able to kind of capitalize off of hanging out with some social media girlies that I've been loving. And I think that could be really, really fun for like a vacation vibe. Greece. Nick and I want to go to Greece so bad. He has family over there, and so we're like roughly planning that, but that's gonna take some time. We're thinking about maybe doing that for like our 2-year anniversary, because our anniversary is in May. It's May 4th. I mean, the world really is your oyster. I want to go freaking everywhere, but I think local wise, friends up in New York that I want to go see. One of my best friends lives in Tampa. Big picture, definitely Greece would be so cool. Emily asks, advice for obsessing over my fitness watch. Number 1, have the discernment to recognize, and you're already on the right path. You're obsessing over it. That discernment is what's going to set you free, because we've identified that we don't want to be doing that. Okay, so I'm proud of you for doing that, because that's a hard thing to recognize. Start with baby steps. If you're very, very attached to it, then just reduce your like fitness goal, right? Or like take off my Apple Watch was a gift to me, but it never has told me. Nick's will like tell him to stand up, or like it'll say something like get movement or time to move. I've never had that setting on here, and I feel like that's very helpful. So turn off some of the notifications. I literally use this mainly for time. Obviously, if like steps and stuff is something that's like triggering to you, then don't wear the watch. Wear like a watch, like a basic watch that just shows you the time, and that might be useful as well. If you have something like a watch that's taking power over you and letting you feel any kind of good, bad way about yourself, who are you taking yourself out to be? Because you are so much deeper and so much more multifaceted than just what your step count was. And if you're noticing that you're like really feeling freaked out about that, pause for a second, take off the watch, reduce the watch amountage or something like that. And remember that you're not only limited to your movement being something that you're like good or bad about. You know what I mean? Like it's so much deeper than that. And these things are just little tools that can be helpful, but if you're not finding them helpful, then you're allowed to take it off. You don't need to wear it just because everybody else wears it or because it's what you know. Free yourself from those obsessive thoughts, because that in and of itself is not healthy. I know that it might think like, oh, but this watch has helped me get my steps and steps are healthy. Okay, too much of anything good it eventually starts to get into negative territory, right? Really focusing on your health also means your emotional health, and if that means not knowing, then sometimes it's better not to know. Leslie asks, what is something you grew to love during this prep? Kimchi, bitch. Kimchi is the first thing that comes to my mind. I just never tried it before, and I love kimchi so much. I don't know if you meant like a specific food or like a concept. I would say that and body work are 2 things. I never gotten like a sports massage before. Oh my gosh, transformative. Literally transformative. My girl Danita Jones gets in there, dude. They get your knots out and it's so nice. And I think just having that more scheduled for myself, I don't usually get like massages and stuff that often in like improvement season or lifestyle. But I think moving forward as a little treat to myself once a month or whatever, it is kind of pricey, but like it's so worth it of having some time dedicated to yourself to restore yourself. Really tune into your body, especially when you're pushing it so hard. And another thing, the little things, the very mundane, small little things. I think when your hards are so chaotic and when everything else is so regimented, little tiny moments, like when I was having my breakfast, I was just sitting in calm quiet. Nick got me these pink roses that are outside. I have a coconut flower candle lit, and I was just sitting with my breakfast and it was peaceful. And I was really, really just tuning into the small little things. Or when I'm driving to the gym and my sweatshirt is super warm and I'm feeling really comfortable, or my music just sounds that extra little bit better, or watching a sunset. Like little mundane things, getting my lotion up on my legs, like having my eyebrows look really good. I just have been so much more appreciative of little things and finding so much more joy in very basic things. So I guess you could say I've been growing to love life more in prep, because you're just so appreciative of how crazy it is, how much it's changing, understanding like, wow, this is gonna be a hard process, but like look how many other beautiful things are surrounding me. And I think it's just made me more appreciative of a person. Kind of a woo-woo answer, but like a true one nonetheless. Anna Dora asks, what is your favorite meal of the day right now? It's always changing. It was my breakfast, still love my breakfast. I'm usually the most excited for her. I think it's actually my pre-workout cream of rice, because it's just, I switch up the flavors a little bit. I think that one has the most room for versatility because I can use whatever protein powder I want to, versus my other ones are obviously like the same like protein sources and stuff like that. I don't have like flavorings of anything. So I think my cream of rice is my favorite one. It just, I don't know. I think today, before I eat with Georgia, I'm gonna do the oatmeal cream pie one. That's like the one that I keep here. So freaking good. With 20 grams of Teddy's. Yes, please. Thank you. Ella asks, would you ever write a book? I've thought about it. Would you guys buy it though? Like, I don't even know what it would be about. I was talking to Nick about this again, actually also. I kind of want to write like an autobiography, but I'm 22 years old. A part of me is like, girl, what are you gonna write about? Like, But I also think Nick was saying, how cool would it be though to read what you thought you had learned so far when you were 22 when you're like 32. I'm focusing on school right now, so that would be a very futuristic thing. I don't know, but I have absolutely thought about it because there's so many things that I've learned and grown through, and even things I'm still processing that I don't even know if I want to share because they're so deep and meaningful to me. The future may tell. But I'm curious, if I were to write a book, like what kind of books do you guys like to read? Because I do consume a lot of like self-help books, but I don't really want it to be something where I'm like, you need to think about that, because I don't know what I'm doing either. We're all just learning. Like even on my podcast, I feel like clear about the fact that I am just a girl who is learning shit. We're just all in this together, and I share thoughts that I've worked through and perspectives that I have, and I use analogies to hopefully help people, but like I'm not Gandhi, you know? So like I don't know if I'm in a position to write like a self-help book, because we're all these like works in progress and just complete beautiful people. That's too woo-woo. You get what I'm saying. So I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. I'm curious. Kenneth asks, how did you get your tan? The sunshine. I don't have any fake tan. I haven't fake tanned in like 2 years, which I will say, even on some days where I feel like I kind of miss it, much cheaper. Much cheaper. My clothes aren't stained, and I feel like my complexion is a lot better without it. I just tan very easily. I think that's just the Spanish side of my family, my dad's side. I think we just hold pigment a little bit better. And also, okay, not to be an ad for sweet potatoes, but it can have you hold some pigment, okay? Some people say they turn orange. I wouldn't go that far, but like, all I'm gonna say is eat your potatoes, okay? Alyssa asks, do you ever feel like you're missing out on the typical college life? There have been times when I get a little bit of FOMO, but not really, because I'm so goal-oriented on what my goals are. When my friends originally went off to college, I'm talking like right after I graduated high school, the first 2 years when I was doing community college were really rough, because at that time of my life, my values were still centered around like popularity and boys and drinking, and there's nothing wrong with that. I was just doing what I thought I had to be doing, or thinking about goals that I had of like what I thought they needed to be. Like I was never much into like the sorority stuff, and if you are, that's totally fine, but I never really felt like it was me, but I felt a pressure to make it have to be me kind of thing. When all my friends went off to school and they were doing things like that, I felt like I was missing out, even though I knew kind of deep down, like, I don't even want to do that. I had no drive to go and rush or to party every single weekend and whatever. I mean, okay, that's a lie. I did have a need to party. Like I wanted to go out and have fun and stuff, and I felt a little bit isolated, but my circumstances didn't give me an option. So community college was just what it was. So I just made the best of that situation. So I think when you kind of have nothing, for lack of better words, it forces you to figure some shit out. And I was by myself, and I was like, well, if I'm not in a situation where I'm surrounded by people all the time, what can I do at this time? And I got super involved in the gym because of that. And that created passions that I would never have even guessed down the line. I got very into, my self-development and learning about myself and strengthening the relationship with my family. And yeah, sometimes I think about, I never really got like the college experience, but I would still go visit my friends, and like we would still have fun and throw down on the weekends, and that's totally fine. I really just had different goals, and I've focused on different goals, and I am so proud of myself for what those goals are and for the growth and the change that I've been able to go through in such a short period of time, that like I don't really feel like I am missing out, because I don't think that what it was for me anyways. If I had gone to a 4-year university straight out of high school, I have zero idea where I would be today, because I probably would not have started a business, probably would not have started social media. I don't even know what I would have studied. Originally, right out of high school, I was going into a business degree. Business or communications. I almost got my associates in communications. I'm one class short, so like in my head I count. But I probably would have gone into something like business just to like get a degree. And then it's like, I don't even know what my passions would have been at that point. So I'm incredibly blessed and grateful that my life went the way that it did. Even though in those times, I remember thinking like, I'm so lost. I have no direction. Like, this is so embarrassing. All my friends know what they're doing, and they have all the fun, cool. They look so cool going out, and I'm just sitting at home with my pre-workout. But if it's your journey, embrace that. Through embracing it, look at all that has happened for me that I can say that I played a role in, and I feel like you don't know that unless you're forced to figure it out. Emerson asks, what will your reverse look like? I have no idea. That is why I'm working with a coach. I can expect just increasing your food and decreasing your cardio. I don't know. This is my first show, guys. So I have no idea. I'm gonna, if I can ask, to stay on meal plan for a little bit because I do really love meal plan, which kind of surprised me about myself. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do, but to not have to think about what I'm eating and to just do what's given to me, it takes so much stress out of that, especially with something like a reverse where I know some people talk about like their hunger is very, very high at that point, and it can be a little bit harder to stay consistent because you don't have as structured of a goal to kind of work towards anymore. So my guess would just be to stick to meal plan, slowly increase food, and then go into a growth phase, or at least a maintaining phase to get your health back to where it needs to be. I got no idea. That's a Georgia question. So I'll ask her about that today, maybe. I don't know. Camille asks, how much fiber should I get a day? The DRI suggests 25 grams, so I would stick to anywhere around there. I usually get above that. Outside of like prep, I would probably get like 30, 35. Fiber you can get through berries, sweet potatoes, you know, vegetables, whole grains, things like that. Definitely helps with digestion. So if you can strive for like 25 grams, then you're in a pretty solid spot. Gina asks, are you competing for the NPC? Yes, I am. Natalie says, what is your favorite thing to do with Nick? As of recently, because of, you know, energy not being crazy high and whatever, we've been watching, so he literally got, guys, I can show you actually. He came home the other day with a 65-inch TV. Oh my God, can you see? I have a bag of potatoes and diet root beer sitting for me out there. 65-inch TV. Okay, Diva. And we've been watching, I had never seen any of, one thing about me, when it comes to movies, hey, have you seen, no, I haven't seen anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I grew up in the only movies that I was like for real serious about watching everything was Harry Potter. Never seen Star Wars, Titanic, Notebook, name a movie, have not seen it. Indiana Jones, any of the Marvel movies, any of classics, nope, don't know what you're talking about. So Nick and I, very early on in our relationship, he would like reference things and be like, oh yeah, haven't you seen like Happy Gilmore? And I'm like, no. So we have a notes app of movies that I need to watch, and one of them, a whole like bolded category, is all of the Marvel movies. I had never seen anything Iron Man, Captain America, none of that. So we've been spending a lot of our evenings in catching up. So I've seen now Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. I've seen both Captain Americas. We watched the Winter Soldier last night, and I've seen the first Avengers. The little things of like just watching movies together, it's really nice. And I think, again, kind of similar to what I was saying, where it's like the little things mean so much more. Nick and I both have been really enjoying just the mundane, like sitting with each other. And even if it's something of like him rubbing my shoulders while I'm cooking my broccoli, like just very basic quality time. Your quality time looks so much different in prep because obviously you're not really able, I guess, to do things like go out to dinner together or to go, you know, to a wine tasting or a brewery or something like that. So watching our relationship shift into enjoying this phase where it is so basic, but in such a positive way. Like even if I'm, you know, doing client work and he's just sitting next to me and like we're just sitting in silence to do your everyday shit with somebody else, like it's just makes such a difference. And I don't know if that counts, but I guess it would be like our movies marathons that we've been doing, because usually by the end of the night, it's a nice way to zone out for a little bit, focus on some other story, and just spend quality time with my boyfriend. I really enjoy it. And similar, Emma asks, how did you and Nick meet? I got a bunch of questions about that. If y'all are real, you would maybe recognize from like eons ago, I would refer to Nick in some of my videos as like my trainer friend, because we met at the gym. He trains at the gym that I go to. He's a personal trainer. He was working out on the squat rack next to me, and I was trying to look at my form in the mirror, but he thought I was looking at him, kind of vibes. And so then he was like, oh, sorry, I'll move. And I was like, no, it's fine. I was looking at myself. And then he was like, oh, and then we started talking, and then he asked to lift together. And then we started to lift together on Saturdays. I would put him through a leg day, and then we would go and get Mexican food, get margaritas and stuff afterwards. And that kind of became our little thing of just like hanging out. I did not want a relationship. I said no to him, actually. He never like asked me out, but I remember, I think it was like 3 or 4 like dates in like lifting dates where we would go hit legs and go get margs. I told him, hey, just like letting you know, I am not interested in anything like romantic. I am very much like lone wolf vibes. And he was like, okay. Okay, Diva. Things changed very quickly, and I am so grateful that they did, because he has been my rock in pretty much everything ever. So we met at the gym. His support means more to me than I could ever articulate, and I truly mean that. Claire asks, what has surprised you the most in prep? Breath. It is 1 o'clock now, okay? I have brushed my teeth 3 times today. So if you ever look up like ketosis breath, I don't know if I'm actually like in ketosis or not, but you lose weight technically through like gas, right? Like you're technically breathe it out, or like Yeah, I guess. I know having gum right now, it's not my protocol. It's just to overall reduce calories. So my breath is rancid all the time. I am constantly scraping my tongue, constantly trying to get that. It's like that feeling of, if you ever woken up, with like bed mouth, you know what I mean? Like morning breath mouth all the time. And it kind of makes me insecure, and I'm like talking to someone and I'm like, I can taste it. I'm always using mouthwash, and I just did not expect that at all, of like your breath being bad. I guess because I thought that use gum. Everyone's protocol is different. If you have gum in yours, like you're good. And if you're in lifestyle, chew away. At least in my prep, we're just really getting specific, and so I just have never had gum in this protocol before. Getting used to very much like my mouth taste, and it's gross. Debbie asks, are you worried that you'll miss your prep body and essentially having to reverse all your hard work? Couple things with that. Number one, I don't know yet because I'm not there yet. I do think that there is a weird kind of like, not trauma bond, where to see all of your, and to see the muscle mass that you did spend so much time building, I think is very cool. I don't think it's like you'll miss it because you understand that big picture of like, this is not sustainable. I don't want to maintain my physique right now. It's cool being shredded and all, but you don't feel amazing 24/7. From a health perspective, it's also important that like hormones are functioning regularly and stuff like that. I do think there is a little bit of a weird shift where it's like you spend so long for this one day of your physique, and then you just kind of not stop, but then you just start to go a different direction. It can be kind of like, well, what are you talking about? Loosely expect, like, yeah, it'll be a little bit different and feel a little odd to go the other direction, but what a beautiful part of life is things are so like ebbing and flowing, and things are not forever. Prep, again, stage leanness is not meant to be forever. One thing you had mentioned is having to reverse all your hard work. Growing muscle and like growing after stage doesn't mean that you're like, I know that that is what a reverse is, but you're still working hard. And I think part of that mental reframe will be very useful for me in the future, where it's not like I'm giving up on something because I'm gaining weight. My goals are shifting. Okay, great. We, did the stage, we did the thing. Here's our feedback. Now we're just applying that hard work through a different lens. Like, it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? So I think in a weird way, I'll miss maybe the chaos and the kind of like those like rosy retrospection where I'll like look back and be like, you know what? As much as it was hard some days, I kind of miss getting up and doing my crazy cardio and going and like having something so crazy to work towards. It is really cool to see striations in places that I've never seen before and to see kind of my body's potential, but I also am just very realistic and understanding like this is not maintainable. This is not something that I want to maintain, and you can miss something while understanding that it's not in your best interest to keep it there. We'll see how those thoughts come up as I get closer to stage and after stage and reverse stuff, and my body image class will give me some cool things to share as well. So that's kind of something I feel like I can't really answer yet because I'm still in my prep body and I'm not even done cooking. Maggie asks, purely hypothetical, but if bodybuilding looks promising for you, would you ever consider going on gear? I plan on staying natural. That's just a personal choice. Again, nothing against people who would like to be enhanced, but I think for myself, I would stay natural. I don't know, I guess, what the years would say in the future, but I feel like right now I'm very much comfortable in just staying natural. Daring Nor, choose one for the rest of your life. Chicken, beef, pork, or fish. Beef, 100%. I'm a big steak girl. It's one of my favorite foods ever. Definitely steak. Maria, are there any new tips that you've learned through prep that you will apply to lifestyle? Maybe not tips, but I do think artificial sweetener wise, I am going to reduce that overall. My plan for that, and I love artificial sweeteners, like they taste good, but I think just digestion wise, I feel a little bit better when I'm not dousing everything in like sugar-free syrup, and I'll still plan on I still use stevia now. I get 2 packets a day. Just kind of being a little more mindful about the artificial stuff, but like that's not because anything is good or bad. It's just for what feels the best for me. I also think the cadence of like 5 meals a day has been really nice for my digestion as well and how I feel, and it's kind of nice to be like, oh, like food is always coming kind of thing. And I used to be like a 3 big meal a day girly, and that's fine. It's calories in, calories out, guys. Like, it doesn't matter. But I do think that moving forward, having smaller, more frequent meals, I think works a little bit better for me, and I really enjoy that. And overall, I think the mindset of like, whatever hard thing you're like, I don't know, you can do it. Kaylee, what is the most challenging part of prep? My cardio in the mornings. It's just a mental game of, is it gonna feel fast or not? And constantly reminding myself, I don't need to know the answer to that. Let me just keep going on my phone, keep playing Pet Shop Story. I've recently downloaded, guys, my Pet Shop, add me Add me. I'm on level 10. I got this 4 days ago. My pet shop, it's called On All Fours. Let me know if we can link up. Send me some wool, okay? Like, I just go on my phone and not really think about it, but it is definitely the mental piece of like, is this gonna feel good or bad? But training wise has been great. My training, am still hitting PRs. I'm still pushing my training. Nutrition is very easy for me. Yeah, I get hungry sometimes. I've been waking up recently in the middle of the night with just some hunger pain, but I just go back to bed and that's it. And that's not that big of a deal. I know I mentioned earlier body work. That's something that I will absolutely be maintaining moving forward. Stretching is a huge thing. That part really isn't that big of a deal for me. It's mainly just my cardio of really pushing, because especially early on in the morning when you're fasted, like my legs will be a little sore, whatever. This is a challenge of my choosing, okay? What's great is that is in the forefront of my day. So it's over early on and then it's kind of like, that's it. And then I have such positive momentum from that high that it makes me soar through the rest of my day. Alexandria asks, what is your dream dog or pet? I would never do this for real because I know it's very unethical, but a lion or some kind of female cat. You guys know my favorite animal of all time. I need to be in an enclosure with snow leopards. Like I trust them. I am them. I don't know. I am a part of that. I just, like a panther, dude, they're home. I would so want to have like a tiger. Like, oh my God, I just want to hold it and like understand it. But I know that's not, I would never have a fucking pet tiger. But dream dog, my family's always had Aussies. I love my dogs. I already have my 2 dream dogs, but if I could get another one when I'm like older, maybe that could be really cool. And I would probably want another Aussie because that's just kind of like the breed that my family sticks to. But my real answer is like a panther or like a tiger. Kayla asks, fuck, marry, kill, potatoes, faye, or teddies. I feel like I've answered a similar lineup before. Marry, potatoes, fuck, faye, and kill teddies, only because peanut butter teddies is like, I need that brand, like that's so good, but like faye is something a little more brand specific, and I do love my Greek yogurt, so I feel like with teddies, if I couldn't have it, I would just have a different kind of, I would have like Smucker's All Natural and just like cry. But I think with how much I use yogurt and how I don't know, it's hard. I would definitely marry potatoes though. So versatile in any season of my life, and I just love them. I'm gonna go with my first answer, but that's subject to change. Kayla also asks, it's been a dream of mine to compete. How do I know if I'm ready? Number one, do you have the resources? I don't think that anybody feels ready for anything. I mean, I kind of teetered back and forth for forever, but it is a very expensive sport. And I don't just mean that in cost, I also mean that in time. So make sure that you're in a position to where you can really dedicate proper time and money to it. I mean, just the coaching costs alone, registering for your shows, the groceries, the gas with your driving, it's a very expensive sport. Posing suits, like the competition suits, are like $700 a piece. Yeah, very expensive. So I would say establish that it's feasible in that regard. When it comes to perspective on food, make sure that that is in a solid place, because I don't think, and I understand for some people, bodybuilding can create a negative perspective on food and on, exercise and things like that. I think it just amplifies where you're already at. So if you're very emotional about food, or we're still working through some things there, I would focus on that and then understand that stage is just a future thing that is always there. So there's no rush. Take the time that you need first to heal before moving into something like that. It's very, very subjective, where I can't say if you're ready. I would just make sure that you're at a very stable spot with yourself, with your goals, making sure that you want to do it for the right reasons. If you want to do prep just to get shredded, it's not about bodybuilding for you. You know what I mean? I guess I'm no person to judge if that's what you want to do and you want to push yourself and see like what your capabilities are first, like that's fine. But I think that would make the whole process harder for you, because then your reverse is probably going to be 20 times as hard, because you've glorified this end product versus this process. I will say, little tidbit, if you can live a bodybuilder lifestyle prior to it, roughly, that'll help set you up for success. And also make sure you have taken time to grow. Okay, do we have enough muscle mass to potentially go into something like a prep? And I know that you just said to compete, so that could mean that like starting with a coach and then going into a growing season, like that's fine. But I definitely think that going through a serious growing phase, it won't guarantee that your prep is easy by any means, but it can just help put more muscle mass on your frame, which can potentially make that process easier. Giselle asks, what are some tips on not burning out? Practice implementing balance, even if you feel like you don't need it. Like being intentional about rest. I mean, even on days where like I'm feeling pretty energetic right now, but after I film this, I'm gonna sit down and stretch. I don't feel like I have to do that, or that I should need to have to do that, but I know that I need to do that and overall to help give myself that. So if you just go and go and go until you burn out, like you're gonna burn out. So it's kind of about like working a little bit ahead of time and making sure that you're staying balanced. I'm actually writing my next manuscript for my podcast on balance, how we kind of navigate those things. But I think a lot of that is knowing yourself, knowing your limits, dialing it back every now and again. If you feel like you're worried about burnout, I feel like that is your red flag to take a step back and to kind of relax for a little bit, you know? Anna asks, what's a song that feels like life right now? What a fun question. The first one that comes to my mind is actually Doo-Wop by Miss Lauryn Hill. Just like the vibe of that song is like kind of where I'm at. Or like Up All Night by Drake. Something positive and just like focused and excited. Does that even make any sense? Vera asks, how long did you book before prep? I booked for like 4 to 5 months. With Georgia, it was like 3, but I had already been in a growth phase on my own. We just like really upped the ante when we started working together. And I've mentioned before, but my calories were well above 3150. So we were like pushing food, babe, okay? And training really, really hard. And I did that every single day consistently, never missed a day of my macros for like 4 to 5 months. And the last question of today comes from Addie, one of my queens. And she says, what is your favorite part about bodybuilding so far? I truly thought that bodybuilding, like you start prep and then for 20 weeks or however long, you literally eat nothing and it just gets worse. And my personal journey has been not like that at all. I think, like for an example, you know, I don't expect to get any refeeds. I just assumed that I wouldn't be a person that would get cardio deloads or refeeds. I don't think about those things so that they're just like positive additions. And so, you know, last week Georgia gave me a burger refeed and Nick and I were able to go out and get these gourmet cheeseburgers. Like my prep can have these little moments. And like, I think because it's my first one, I have no idea what to expect. And it's made me enjoy the process a little bit more because things are changing all the time. You know, we have random cardio deloads sometimes, or maybe she'll be like, hey, actually here's a refeed here. Just to be so open to change and to keep an open, positive mind has been just really, really helpful. Learning how much of a support system I have. I feel so loved and I am so loved and I feel it. And I am just so grateful for my social media, for my family. I'm so grateful for you guys, for Nick, for my friends. I have never felt so supported in something so specific and kind of odd to like what my usual peoples do. Like none of my friends bodybuild or anything, but I've felt so much love and I've just been really grateful for all of it. So I've loved the whole process. I've loved learning. I've loved figuring it out. I've loved doubting myself and then overcoming it. It's just been such a grateful, beautiful thing. And I'm just very privileged to be able to do it. So those are all of my questions that I'm going to be answering today. I have to pee very bad. Proud of myself. I didn't pee any time of filming this and this clip is about an hour long. I'm gonna get ready to lift with Georgia and make my cream of rice, which I'm stoked for. I appreciate you guys so freaking much and I hope that you're having a great week and I will see you in next week's video. Go get big.